All right, we're back here live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Plenty of time to talk politics ahead of tomorrow night's debate, but we turn back to our coverage now of the war overseas with Israeli forces entering the second largest city in Gaza, Khan Younis. We've been talking a lot about that the last couple of days as the assault on that region has really intensified. It's dramatically increasing the number of people killed and wounded, and it comes as President Biden had been urging and continues to urge Israel to limit civilian casualties. We're joined now by an IDF spokesman and Major Doron Spielman. It's good to have you on, sir, once again. We've talked to you a number of times as this war has progressed. Would you just start with an update to the extent that you can reveal what's happening in the southern part of Gaza right now? What has today brought? Because the dispatches we've been hearing say it's been some of the most intense fighting of the war so far.
Thank you, first of all, for having me. The IDF is today focusing, amongst other places, on the major terrorist hive, which is underneath and within the city of Khan Younis. Khan Younis is a large city in southern Gaza. The Khan Younis brigade of Hamas is one of the most active, maybe the most central brigade, that and one other, the Gaza brigade, in the entire Gaza Strip. These are the Nukba fighters. The planning and execution of the massacre on October 7th was committed by many of the terrorists that have embedded themselves in that city. In fact, after they launched into Israel and carried out that massacre, they then fled back into Khan Younis, where they've been embedded inside tunnels. It's very tight urban fighting, some of the most difficult urban fighting probably ever been done in the world. You have tunnels underneath the ground. We found hundreds of tunnels. You have armed terrorists that are engaging our forces around corners, and you've got civilians that were trying to move out of the way, but Hamas is trying to put them in the way. And so we are effectively dismantling those tunnels. We've blown up more than 500 tunnels. We've taken out a lot of these Hamas terrorists and their weapon supplies, but this is ongoing fighting, and we're using combined forces. This is aerial, armor, and ground forces that are acting together in order to try to stand up to this challenge.
And as we see you do that, is it fair to assume that your work in the northern part of the Gaza Strip is pretty much complete, or are the two continuing to happen simultaneously?
We are definitely still working in the northern Gaza Strip. There remain large amounts of terrorists in the northern Gaza Strip that are in the areas of Jabalia and Shajia. These are areas that were, again, packed in. For main focus right now is that area of Khan Younis, which, again, is an area that we have not yet gone. Terrorists from the north fled to Khan Younis. When we directed the civilian population to head south, there were terrorists that headed south with them, and that infiltrated back into Khan Younis. So that's where most of our efforts are focused today.
Okay, but to your point, along with the terrorists that you say went in that direction because they were told so, again, to your point, did many civilians. I know the United States and others, I mentioned this in the introduction, have continued to urge Israel to do more, saying that more needs to be done to protect civilians. So I guess my question, the way of asking this today, we talked about this a number of times when you've been on, is has anything changed in your approach in recent days as you've moved to the south? You've changed strategically. Has anything changed in your approach when it comes to protecting civilians? Doing anything different?
We are constantly in a process of trying to both learn and be more precise. Again, we don't even need outside pressure or even our allies to tell us this. We want to do this because we value life in general. First of all, the life of our own civilians in Israel, which is our first duty to protect. But while we're trying to eliminate Hamas and bring home our hostages, we're also working very hard to be precise regarding the Gazan civilian population. We have refined a lot of our techniques and methodologies. Again, this is a new area of fighting, this such intense urban warfare. We're operating on increased intelligence and a greater connection amongst our forces. As time goes on, we're working better and better. And so all of these are being deployed. Also, we've worked on technologies that are also helping us in this area. But I think one of the main things that we're doing regarding the civilians is we released this map. I don't think any army in the world has ever released a map that is this, goes down to this granular of a view where a family, we notify family, you're living in this location and in this area, move 2 streets over, move out of the way of fighting. The challenge is, as I'm sure that you and your viewers understand, is we're going to all these extents to move them out of the way. And Hamas keeps thinking of ways to put them back in the line of fire, meaning we could all wrap up and call this a day if Hamas will come out and fight us in open fields, in agricultural areas, and leave their civilians behind. The problem is, I think, we hear a lot of criticism of Israel of what we're supposed to do, and we know our responsibility. The question is, what is Hamas's responsibility? I believe the world needs to absolutely pressure Hamas to move their civilians out of the way and just come out and face the IDF one-on-one.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.